we've got something inspiring and educational for you. We have a Q&A with a leading CEO who turned a third-generation family business into one of Malaysia's biggest companies. YTL Corporation is one of the largest infrastructure companies in the world, spanning utilities, construction, cement, property, and development. The group has significant investments in the UK. We're talking about that in a moment. Owning Wessex Water, one of the good water companies, may I just say, ladies and gentlemen. And it recently announced the development of a new town on the Bristol and South Gloucestershire border, which will include 6,500 new homes, a 15-acre park, a 19,000 capacity carbon-neutral arena, and 3 schools. Trees, because we are in the presence of an entrepreneurial rock star. Make a lot of noise for Tan Sri Sir Francis Yeoh, everybody! Tan Sri Francis Yeoh, it's such a pleasure to have this conversation. Thank you so much for coming from Malaysia to be with us this evening. Another round of applause. Going from Malaysia to be here. See. Which is probably an easier trip than coming from Golders Green, to be honest, this evening. I'd like to start with, when you get up in the morning, what are your first thoughts? Is there a way that you get yourself into the mood for the day?
When I get up first in the morning, I put on a devotion to God. That's the first thing. 45 minutes, listen, meditate on the truths, the healing words of God. I hear psalms, singing songs, spiritual songs, and I think I'm blessed. Another great day. I'm alive. So I thank our Lord for the breath and thank Him for everything. That's it. So I start 45 minutes of meditating on His goodness.
I think that's really interesting because there are many people in this room who have a faith. Hinduism, Sikhism, Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism, my own faith. I wonder how your faith informs your attitude to business.
Yeah, I think we have a good God. God is merciful, full of grace and in that. And I think around this room, if you look at the entrepreneurs here, the beautiful people, what's there not to love this world? You know, sometimes we forget it is a difficult world, it's a fallen world, but at the end of the day, they are beautiful people like ourselves. So when I'm surrounded by people like yourselves from different, I come from Southeast Asia, a place where there's 1,000 native languages, different religions, different ethnic groups, 1,000 different tribes, different governments, from communists of Vietnamese, who are communists to democracies in Singapore, etc. So we are used to mixing around like Britain. So cosmopolitan. And we love people. As a result, so many years in ASEAN, there are no wars. We've kept our peace. For example, Malaysia, at that time I remember Dr. Mahathir, Prime Minister, was quite radical in that sense that when we were forming ASEAN, in the earlier days, and there were discussions, should we allow a communist Vietnam to join? And we say we should. All business people say, why not? We shouldn't look at the political system, look at the people. At the end of the day, we should welcome them. This is how I feel about the world that we live in.
Say I went in the time machine, Francis, sir, back to your time at Kingston University studying civil engineering. And I said to you, what do you want to be in life? What would that answer have been back then?
I think I tell people this, I mean, the greatest job in the world is to say, hey, God, I want to tell you my great plans. So that's a great job because today I believe in divine providence. God is in control of everything. So from young, since I was 16, I became a Christian. So I really learned to trust the will of God. I know what a piece of dung I am, let's put it that way. when you see the holiness of your God, you start to see how hideous and ugly your soul is. So from that on, I become, I would say, pretty humble, with plenty to be humble about. So I understand, if I were to walk in God's narrow path, the path of light that He says, I have to make sure that I listen to Him and obey Him willingly and joyfully. So that's the story of my life. So I don't plan like I'm going to be a trophy one day. I'm going to be this, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to do as much as I can for the divine providence, the people I'm going to meet, the opportunities that don't come. I'm just going to work harder. But I pray all the time that I'm in the right direction.
So when your father handed the business over to you, you're 26 years old. What advice did he give you at that point?
My father was not a Christian. So my father was a very hardworking man. And it was very difficult at that time in the construction business. He worked very hard, like my grandfather. My grandfather came from China, and he was the second generation in Malaysia. And when I was 16 years old, there was this oil crisis, November 71, oil embargo, 73. And for all the years, he's worked hard to carry went past. So, being the eldest son, I told him, I will plan you. We can't afford to send the rest. I was the eldest, so I am the eldest. So the rest of my 6 siblings, I said, let's try whatever money we have to send them to universities in England, so give them a better future. But I'll come plug with you. My father said, you silly fool. You can never out hardworking. You're so hardworking. You can never be as indefectible as them. But he said, what you can do is, you're the elder son. Just make sure you go to England, get a good degree, and try and use Sangam defeat. Because he couldn't, for categorical change that count. And all the environmental, secular sector differences, the cycles of business, all embargo, crisis after crisis. And he couldn't handle that, although he works very hard. So you go, when you get a degree, you come back and you think out of the box. You have to learn to be in the street and in the jungle, but doing things differently. Thinking out of the box. So that's what my father taught me. So ever since I came back, I've thought out of the box. Yeah.
You have a huge respect for retailers, don't you? And you said before you were born as a retailer. What does that mean to you?
Well, I like retailing in the sense that I like to see people happy. I like to see people joyfully serving people. Something that retail is the wrong hand, is a tail of a business. One's a very humble business to serve people. That's what I love about it. Being able to face people, serve people, and make them joyful. That's what I love about it.
When you are sitting on the top of very complicated businesses in lots of different sectors, how do you keep an eye on that, control of that, to make sure that you're across very different businesses which have very different challenges?
So we only do what we know best. We are all engineers. All my siblings are engineers, including the ladies. They're all engineers. So we only know how to do engineering stuff. So we stick to the engineering core competency. So what actually we do is the physical infrastructure business. So we build, as first we were constructors and became developers where we got more money as time progresses. And we stick to the physical infrastructure business because that's what everybody needs. Utilities is what everybody needs. So in 19, we were doing quite well in the infrastructure business. We saw the threat internet. The internet was coming, and I was the eldest, thinking out of the box. Is the internet going to wipe out the construction business that you were in, just like they wiped out my father? So I said, I'm not going to shy away from this. Pray to the Lord, show me the way. And we went right into the storm and learned everything. And then we went into the digital infrastructure, just started the first 3G network nationally, then 4G network, now 5G, and now we do data centers. We are partners with NVIDIA NVIDIA has only one partner outside of America when they announced last year. So it was us that we do a cloud business together. We did that in 22 months. So Jensen Huang recently in APEC, he was very impressed that if I do the data center with him in 22 months. So this is a digital business. AI has come. So again, we are just doing infrastructure, physical infrastructure, digital infrastructure, and now AI infrastructure. So we're not doing many businesses. All these businesses has in it a core competency of engineering. So we could build things inexpensively, let's put it that way, competently, efficiently. For example, you do internet, the data centers, you need water and you need electricity. We own West Exporter. We own a water company now in Johor Bahru where our data centers are. And you need power. So there are two businesses with God's blessing and providence. We are very competent and very good at. So you can see, do I already this? Am I so brilliant to be, wow, I thought of the internet data center business because we're good in water and nothing there. We didn't even know Jensen Huang when we started this, and nobody wanted to finance our data centers in Malaysia. We went ahead with our own reserve, cash, no package want to lend you. Of course, now the banks are wanting queue to lend you. All the big guys, KKR, everybody wants to invest with you. It's awfully the day after everybody comes to you when you do not need that. But the day before, it's tough.
Why do you have a problem with leveraging debt? Because I was reading something about you, and your businesses in 2008 after the financial crash posted 7% growth, right, against all of the market. And one of the reasons for that, you said, was that we don't leverage debt. Why?
Yeah, I rather lend to banks than borrow from banks. And in 2008, I was very worried whether the banks were going to go bust. Even the banks were not safe. If the governments did not come and guarantee the banks, even the banks were not safe. Can you imagine how horrible we were? So I think that's what thinking out of the box is. With God's blessing and His providence and His guidance, we are always quite biblical in our approach. Always understand Josephian cycle of 7-year cycle that's in the Bible. Always keep a reserve. So we always catch reserves. And we always choose projects like West Side Water or Power in Singapore. We produce 20% Singapore electricity. These are concessions in perpetuity. We invest long term. Why? Because that's my faith. I believe in eternal life. Okay. So we have to think long term. But in the world, long term today is almost an oxymoron, right? Long term, 6 months. Sometimes 6 days nowadays, the algorithm trading is 6 hours. It's long term. So, yeah, but we believe in long term and we believe in investing in a country like Britain for 25 years and we never sold. And we keep investing. So from 900 million pounds we invested in 2002 is now the wrap asset earlier is 4.2 billion pounds. So they keep investing money in UK.
Ladies and gentlemen, around the course from Mount who's investing billions of pounds into this country. The question off the back of that is, at a time when so many people are talking the UK down, why do you still think it is worth investing in the UK?
I think UK is a bit UK, right? UK is UK. And you like to talk yourselves down. That's UK. Yeah, that's UK. But from a perspective of knowing UK, we were all educated here. All my children, my nephew, nieces, they go to Imperial College and Oxford, Cambridge. They're all very bright, right? And we love what UK stands for: the rule of law, the stability of the politicians, the institutions that carry this country, the central banks, all of that. So don't knock the institutions. Politicians come and go, but your institutions are very well respected, and your rule of law is second to none in the world. So if you have that, whatever political noise, I'm not afraid. I'm only afraid when you want to knock institutions down. Then I'm afraid. So as long as the institutions in UK stays firm, I love.
That's incredible, incredible. And tell us about the building of this new housing area in North Bristol and why that was important for you.
We're already in Bath, so we already own the Wessex Water, and near Bath is Bristol. So there was a bid for the Filton land. Nobody wanted it, but I remember Filton. I remember Bristol is famous for the ports. It was one of the greatest ports in the world once. Yeah, ship Bristol way. You know, it's always got like a Silicon Valley, a corridor of very bright young people. And then Filton was for sale. That's where Concorde was. To me, I love what aerospace stood for in Britain at that time, the British Concorde. How could they not want this land? So we bid for it. We don't overpay. But I was shocked that we got it for £60 million. Don't tell the British government that. But it's okay. Nobody wanted it. We got it £60 million. But now we have turned it into a £6.5 billion development. People need housing. They are building beautiful homes. It's a very simple idea. We build communities, not just homes. And the homes in Filton, we put a park around it, as you know. It's like everybody will have a park-looking home, like everybody has home-facing high butt. So it's pretty very nice, the environment, and the volumes of the house are much. The space is not claustrophobic, and we are selling it less than a quarter of the price of London. And no wonder it's sold out when we started. Yeah, and it's only an hour and a half to London by train. So we are going to do 6,500 homes, and we're going to also have office buildings, and also, of course, a lot of shopping and all the ancillary. The whole development company will be very nice.
What would your advice be, Francis, sir, to leaders who are increasingly nervous, maybe even terrified of the pace of change, especially, as you pointed out earlier, with artificial intelligence? What would you say to them?
I think don't be afraid like I was. AI is more dangerous than internet if you are not aware. I think you're aware of the power of AI. AI is as agents. Before AI, before generative AI, we use all technology as tools. Horses, we cars replace horses. Even computer, we use a computer, we fit in, we tell the computer what to do, and they did this efficiently for us. AI is the opposite. So let's put it in a more radical scenario, more dramatic way of putting it. In the old war, you have to use a lot of intelligence. Your MI6 go around and see where your enemy is, put agents all over the place, find out where to bomb all the right place, etc., and then to feed it into your computer, satellite, or your drone says you know where to hit them. AI is the opposite. AI tells you what to do. AI tells you the best way to hit all the places in the most efficient way. And not, I think in 2 years' time, they will just say press a button and that's it. All the drones will go. You don't have to do a thing. They teach humans. And they say they'll tell the humans, all the military people, what will happen after that. The consequence after you hit that, the next thing will happen is this, and you do this. Next thing you do that, you'll do that. So it's planning for the humans as an agent. You are no longer feeding it, it is teaching you. So that is an incredible infrastructure. So don't be afraid of it. Use it for the good. Like all things, you know, the internet people can read online the Bible or pornography. So AI, use it for good. AI is so intelligent, right? It is 1,000 Einsteins. Why would somebody not use it? You don't have to be intelligent anymore. You just have to ask the right questions. And if you do that from now, don't be afraid of it. I'm quite sure Britain as a country, we are going to do data centers here, by the way, as well. So we are going to do a lot of stuff here. So many people also benefit.
Now, I'm going to slightly annoy our production company very quickly because I want to ask one more question. And that is, apologies if we've covered this. the importance of philanthropy to you. Why is that so important to you as part of your business?
Well, we are stewards in this short life, right? In this world, we live a very short period. We believe we are stewards, not just philosophically. Literally, we are stewards in my sense that we have a Christian trust where I, together with all my siblings, surrender all our billions worth of shares, our leverage shares, to a trust. And this trust looks after future generations. So we believe we are stewards of God's glory. We do the best we can. It's not ours. It's ours to show how we can glorify God with the resources He gives us. And we write it out in the Constitution that this is how it's with our wealth. You didn't make it, but you just remember, you just do the good stuff. Make sure you don't forget about God will give you this wealth, and make sure you prosper communities. Make sure you look after all the people that needs to look after the poor, everyone that's in your social constituency. That's what you do.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tan Tree Francis Yeoh, everyone. Wow, amazing. Thank you so much.